who is a night sister, right, or whatever it is.
Yeah, she's yeah.
What are they called? That's what it's called, right?
Yeah,
or Sisters of the Night, or whatever of the 5 names they have and shit.
Whatever the fuck. They're what they were in the red light district.
Garrett's like pulling out his hair.
He's like,
screaming. What the fuck is this? Like. Welcome, Nerd Chatter, a podcast where we discuss recent stories from the entertainment, gaming, and tech industries. I got Keeney with me. What I mean?
What up, sir?
On this week's show, we'll talk a little bit about Ahsoka on Disney Plus, and maybe a little bit about Blue Beetle. But before we get into that, if you could hit us with a like and subscribe, be much appreciated. I know you saw Ahsoka, but you didn't see Blue Beetle, right?
Yeah, I saw Ahsoka. Didn't want to fork out the money to see Blue Beetle.
Yeah. We'll talk about Ahsoka first. I'll go ahead and click this link here so I get the cast up. We had Rosario Dawson, right?
Mm-hmm.
Reprising her role as Ahsoka Tano in her later years. Pretty good. I don't know, like a little stoic. I mean, I get the age and all that, but
yeah,
it feels like an uptight vibe going on with that character. Like badass, but a little bit uptight. Then you have Natasha Liu Bordizzo, or Liu, playing Sabine Wren. Really good. Like, just the look of her, like just facial, just everything about her. It's like,
it was a good casting choice, definitely.
Good casting. And then Mary Elizabeth Winstead as Hera.
Yep.
Lucas not here to talk about that. That's like his girl right there, and going way back. High school crush shit, if I remember correctly.
He decided to sleep in or whatever.
I think he said he had work. Yeah, Lucas is not with us.
Bro, he works night shift. He don't work during the day.
Yeah, well, the last episode too, he didn't even tell me, and he was like, right before we were filming, he's like, "Yeah, I'm tired." I'm like, "What?" Like, yeah, I'm at the end of my shit. It's like, what the fuck? I just got home. It's like, God damn it.
Yeah.
Luckily, he didn't fall asleep during the show, so that was good. Then we have Ray Stevenson playing Baylan Skoll, which, unfortunately, he passed. After production.
That's rough.
What a brooding man right there.
Yeah.
As a big individual, that dude was huge.
I didn't really looking at his like all the casting he's done, or all the roles he's played, he's been some pretty big characters.
Well, he's got a solid voice too, so
yeah.
I'm assuming he has some voice acting in there as well. But just a fucking lumberjack by nature, you know what I mean? Like, that's brawny man right there. That dude was just huge, a literal brick shithouse. You know what I mean? He was fabricated from bricks. Impressive beard, I might add. I have a beard, but that's goals.
There's definitely a reason why he was in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, and it sucks because I actually really vibed on that character. I didn't like a little bit of spoiler action going on here because we want to talk about certain scenes and characters and references to Rebels and stuff like that. So, be advised. But the hallway scene in particular, I'm getting tired of that whole cliche. It's like Star Wars is, in my opinion, has a tendency to fabricate like cliches. You know what I mean? Like, it gets a little bit too much at times.
Right.
I'm not saying it was bad. It was obviously dope, but the reason that Vader scene was so impactful was because it was so original and what you wanted to see. You had waited ages to see Vader put on a display like that. You know what I mean? So it was refreshing.
Right.
And then when it came to Luke, it was a little on the nose, but you could roll with it because it was okay, so now we have the juxtaposition, right? Right. The good and bad. And that one, it served to show you, Master Luke. He's full blown. He's a Jedi. You know what I mean? He's doing his thing. This is what you were looking for. This is the Luke that we never really got to see. This, I don't know. It's just some new character that you have no real connection to. You have no understanding who he is, and they're using it to deliver that feeling, that grandiose feeling that you're supposed to get from this character in particular.
All the intimidation and fear from these so-called Jedi or Sith or whatever they are.
Oh, and then you had, he's just mowing through people, and it was a cool scene, a lot of visual, imagery that's going on, and I dug it quite a bit, actually. And I was talking to Garrett, it's just me personally, I'm thinking the show it feels above all the others except for Mando. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it has what it takes to be probably like the second.
I think
best
this is like the most like hype a Star Wars show besides Mando has gotten in a while.
Yeah, I mean, also just from like a quality perspective, you know what I mean? Like, it is delivering what it needs to deliver. I will say, though, for anybody out there wondering, like, no, you will not understand what the hell's going on if you've never seen Rebels.
If you don't know like any of the backstory or characters, like, you're gonna be lost.
Super lost. And me personally, I mean, of all of the properties, and this is not any diss towards Filoni, it's just I consider Rebels to be like my least favorite Star Wars media, like, period. You know what I mean? Like, in general, I just don't like the Ezra character.
Yeah, I was about to say, is it like just the story, or like how the cartoon is made, or
the best thing
animation
about that show is everything else. Like Thrawn is awesome. The side characters are fun and interesting, and that's normally the most enjoyable episodes, when it's focusing on their little ragtag crew and how they bounce off of one another and stuff like that. But when it's Ezra being Ezra and it's Ezra's story, he's incredibly obnoxious to me. Like, just a super annoying character. And I was, it's just, I joke around and like, he's more annoying than Jar Jar Binks and shit. And people get all offended and they get super offended. And it's like, well, at least in my head,
oh my God.
at least in my head, I could apply like the Darth Jar Jar like headcanon. You know what I mean? Like, he could be a secret Sith this entire time, the one behind it all. Like, at least I could play that off and sleep at night.
There's some theories about this episode about Ezra. So.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, is that the show may actually redeem that character for me. But in cartoon form, it was very whiny, and I get it. I get everything as to why it was a choice. He's young, he's rash, he's impulsive, and he's training later than he should be. You know what I mean? That's just the rule of Jedi, at least the Republic, or the Jedi Temple in regards to training Jedi. It's like, you don't get them too late because they're corrupted.
Right. I mean, it's the same way with like Luke, right?
Yeah.
Started really late.
It's rough, and then that playing into the fact that makes them unique. You know what I mean? And even more so with Rey, they lay it on thick with that. Is that she has all these dark side traits as well, but she's supposed to play like the balance, and it's like, whatever.
Yeah.
But when it comes to this show in particular, like, what do you think? Like, what do you feel in comparison to, what do we got? We got Boba Fett, we got Mando, we got Obi-Wan, and what else do we have? Do we have anything else?
I think it's a little bit better than like Obi-Wan. I still think Mando's on top. But then, I would definitely think this would probably be a close second, especially like knowing Rebels and the like understanding the story, like what's going on, like why are they going, like
why are they looking for
why are they looking for Thrawn, and the map and like how to unlock it.
And it's even not, it hasn't been too long since I've seen it, but I've already forgot like key details of why and when and where. I'm gonna need to
rewatch some stuff, but like knowing the basics of it, I have an understanding.
Like, if you haven't seen Rebels, you have absolutely no fucking clue what Purrgil are. And like you see, and especially with the Mando scene, like, been so lost when they see the Purrgil when they're jumping. And for anybody that doesn't know, who doesn't want to watch the entirety of Rebels and all this, Purgle are like giant space whale creatures that feed off of spice, which is used for hyper travel, right? Spice, right? Is it spice that's used for hyper travel? I forget. They feed off of the gases.
Spice is like their drug.
Yeah, spice is the drug, right? But what they use they use the Purgle. See, this is why we need Garrett. Yeah. They use the Purgle to like figure out how to hyper jump or something like that at some point. There's a whole story behind it. This is why I've skimped out on certain details. But Purgle are creatures. Actually,
I was gonna say, but if like you really wanted to like get the gist of Rebels, there's like about a half-hour YouTube video that like it takes up like 140 hours of the show and like narrows it down, and like they just talk about the key points.
Every fucking YouTube channel right now is making one of these because nobody knows what the fuck is going on in Ahsoka and shit. So pick your poison. But really, Purgle are creatures that have the ability to hyper jump. They can travel large distances in space just like the ships can, and they have kind of like mystical properties. They're ancient creatures. And at the end of Rebels, Ezra, the younger character, the Jedi who's in training the entire series, sacrifices himself and goes with the Purgle and a Imperial ship. Is it Imperial? I don't know what the fuck.
It's Thrawn.
It's Thrawn's ship, and teleports them or hyper jumps them to a completely different, in this case, galaxy.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about Star Wars, it's in a galaxy far, far away. So we're talking about a completely different universe, essentially. Not like universe, but like, you know what I mean? Like, and I was it New Rockstars or whatever, put in the suggestion that maybe Thrawn, he's like a superpower over there, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
he got over there and it's a completely new galaxy to rule, you know what I mean? And
right.
Maybe that's where the story goes and stuff like that. I don't know. But the point is that at the end of the series, Ezra is gone. He sacrificed himself to save everybody else. The galaxy heals, and these main characters kind of go their different ways. I forget the big brooding character from Rebels, the alien. He's
Zeb,
on the team.
He was in,
yeah. He was in an episode of Mandalorian, I think season 3 or 2.
Yeah, it's the latest one, 3.
Or was it?
He was in the bar.
Was it Andor?
No. He was in. Was
it Mando? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get the time frame correct. And that's what makes this whole thing.
He was in like 2 episodes.
Yeah, so you see, and Filoni, he was in the back with the stupid ass cowboy hat. But Zeb, he was a funny character in there, and he was kind of the heavy, you know what I mean? So you have Sabine, you have Hera, you have
Chopper.
You have Chopper. Which is actually done good, like really solid justice with that droid character. I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
The mannerisms are very cartoonish and very in line with that character. It's a very smart ass droid. I love it. It's probably one of my favorite.
Did you check under this?
So you have Zeb, you have Sabine, you have Hera. They say Ahsoka, but Ahsoka, if I'm not mistaken, she wasn't bopping around with these people very much. You know what I mean? Wasn't there just a brief interaction between them a couple times? One of which was when she fought Vader. And then, like, they left her, and she was just gone. She was fighting Vader, and they dipped.
Yeah,
I don't recall her being a part of the crew. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, she was obviously out doing her own stuff for the majority of the time, but she was with them for a little bit.
So then you have Ezra, which, I mean, we saw the hologram, right?
Yep.
I saw that they kind of did like the whole like rubbing the back of the head, just like the anime, or not the anime, but the cartoon does. I'm sorry, not anime. I apologize. So like, they're getting stuff. I mean, it's Filoni. He's going to make sure that it's like his other creation. Yeah,
there was a lot of like they did a bunch of stills where it's pretty much frame for frame the exact imagery from the cartoon and this.
Yeah, I would say. Okay, so if you had like one negative, what would it be about the show? I have one, and it's stupid.
One negative?
Yeah.
I would have to say I think the how much he pulled from the like Rebel show, like let it keep going. Like, yeah, it's cool to be nostalgic and stuff, but like don't like use like redo the same stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm curious to see like the whole Sabine thing, and then Mandalore. You know, like what's her thoughts on that, and like the state of Mandalore.
I mean, exactly. She probably doesn't even know anything of like what happened.
Does she know Mando? You know, like does she? Where do lines cross? You know what I mean?
Right.
My stupid thing is I really hate that mural. I hate
yeah.
Because
of them, yeah.
Yes,
okay.
because it looks like a carbon copy from the cartoon.
Yeah,
like, it is.
That was one of the things. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, well, I mean, it looks like it's not that it shouldn't be
almost
there.
Identical.
Yes, it's like it doesn't match up with the fact that it's like you have live action characters and then their cartoon counterpart, but you have this mural that is both. Like it is literally the exact artwork that was on the cartoon itself. So it doesn't fit.
It doesn't look realistic.
They didn't make it look real. They printed that shit on there. The faces look like cartoons. They look like they were drawn. You know. So
yeah, like
I feel they should have made that look like a real version, where the cartoon version's like, oh, okay, so that makes sense. Like that is what the cartoon version of that mural would look like. But instead, they just copied the exact same imagery from the cartoon, and it just doesn't match. It doesn't match anything else in the real Star Wars universe in terms of art, right? Like you've never seen that type of.
Yeah, it's like the meme going like, oh, you can copy my homework, but just change a little bit of it.
They just changed the tint of the color.
Yeah.
That's it. They put like a real person in front of it. It's like, see. Yeah, it like aside from that, you know, I just think that it takes me out of it, and that bugged me because I saw it on the promotional shit as well. And aside from that, it's like everything else goes hard as fuck. You know what I mean? Like the imagery of like the speed. You know what I mean? The speed of like the speeder when Sabine's like running from the patrol and shit, and she's doing all that shit. They kick in weird non-Star Wars music and. You know, you get a little bit of some difference. You know, you get a little bit of a different approach to shit. And then you have, I mean, I don't know the name of the character, but the, let me see if I can
the Inquisitor.
Yeah, I'm sure if I can. Find
Marek.
Marek. Yeah. There's a lot of imagery in regards to because the name of Ray Stevenson's and Ivana Sakno.
Sure.
Shin and Balin, their characters are like the wolves from Norse mythology.
Yeah.
And then you have what was his name? Inquisitor Relic.
Marek.
Marek. That's also another character.
As a wolf character, yeah.
Like a knight or something. I forget, but yeah, there's a lot of imagery going on. The sky maps, they've been kind of cracked, and there's a lot of clues in regards to. Pretty much where everything is and like how things connect and all this stuff. So
there's a lot of theories about who Marek actually is.
And that was
the two main one is that it's either Ezra that got tempted by the dark side, or it's Darth Vader's apprentice, Star Killer. Like they're bringing him into the
as an Inquisitor. He's not going to be.
No. But like, because you can kind of see it though. Like, so he doesn't just go like the Inquisitors usually use like their double saber like spinning like all the time. Like he like starts out as just like he goes through different styles of lightsaber fighting while he's fighting Ahsoka. And they think that like this could be like his hidden like apprentice.
I don't know. I'm thinking that
we'll have to see. Like it'd be really cool to see that, but like they can like I can see Ezra being like them.
That would break everything because Balin and Shin. I mean, they're hired guns by this point. You know what I mean? They're working with Morgan Elsbeth.
Yeah, Elsbeth.
Who is a night sister, right, or whatever it is.
Yeah, she's What
are they called? That's what it's called, right?
Yeah,
or Sisters of the Night, or whatever of the 5 names they have and shit. Whatever the fuck.
What they worked in red light district.
Garrett's like pulling out his hair.
He's like, ah!
What the fuck is this? Like, but it's there's shit tying there, and Balin and Shin. I mean, if that was the case, why aren't they being like, hey, where's Thrawn, bro? Like,
yeah.
why aren't they talking to him? It's already established that we have Rogue, not Jedi, not Sith, just Force wielders. Right. Supposedly the Balin and Shin's sabers were orange. I didn't see it. I saw red, but I'm also like getting old and shit. But they're supposedly orange, to symbolize that they're more of like a negative neutral type thing,
Yeah.
And I didn't see the color of the Inquisitor. So
red.
They're probably just remnants, they're working for whomever they need to work for to get what they need to get. And
yeah.
Shit, what else are they going to do? Like go retire on a farm and shit like Thanos?
Right.
Like, no, they're going to go and they're going to use their skills to make money and survive. And everybody was chased. I like the droids that were fucking like crazy. Those are like superhuman. But I don't know. I don't think it would be that. I think that they're honestly, it's going to be as basic as they find out how to get there. They find a beacon or something. They locate Ezra. They encounter Thrawn. They figure out how to get back, and then Thrawn comes back with them and brings everything.
They were thinking it's going to be like Starkiller because in the end credits, it's the voice actor that voices him, Sam Witwer. Yeah.
Fucking Doomsday from Smallville, fucking Palpatine from Rebels.
He's also Darth Maul.
He also plays Darth Maul, yeah. I'm hoping that whoever's in that Inquisitor outfit is just Ray Park, to be honest.
Right?
It's just Ray Park, and like he's just a different character in the Star Wars universe, and bring him back. You know what I mean? He's not Maul, but he's just a different character, and he can do his shit again. He can
exactly
lay on his martial arts professional.
I mean, it was a good fight scene too. Like I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's cool. The saber looked a little whack. I don't really care for the Inquisitor sabers. The blades were really short.
Yeah.
And it just didn't look proportional. Part of the dope thing about lightsabers is kind of like their length of blade. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's cool if you're akimbo and you have shorter blades, but I don't know. And maybe it would have been all right if Rey's was more of like a staff, like the longer the center was like longer, but the blades were shorter, so it was a little bit more of like in line with her previous weapon. I don't know, but like, I digress about the show in particular. I dig it. I think that if you have seen Rebels and you want to see that story continue, or you at least like certain characters from it, like at least you get the option to kind of continue it. I like the fact that we haven't seen Luke. He'll probably be back, but I'm liking that. That we're more so focusing on a different established Star Wars lore that people can focus on. But you never know. Like these characters really could just relocate to another galaxy and start anew. You know what I mean? A new storyline where Thrawn is the Palpatine of the universe, and everything else kind of just restarts. I don't know. I saw some rumors not too long ago too that they're going to be expanding into the Old Republic, and they're going to start creating like shows and like movies and stuff about the era that I've been begging for probably almost 2 decades.
I think everyone has.
Yeah, I mean, that was the vibe with episode 1. You got to see this nice polished gold and marble Jedi influenced galaxy, not this nasty. I mean, it was still nasty and clunky, but like it wasn't as gritty and gross. It was a more pristine time that was more night-like. So yeah, I recommend it wholeheartedly, but yeah, like you said, probably watch one of these half-hour recaps. There's a whole lot of filler, a whole lot of side stories with characters, just character building, world building and stuff like that. But really, when it boils down to it, just understanding who the main characters are, what the entire purpose of that show was, and like where the story went and ended. would be super important to know, because that's literally where it picks up. Like they talk to each other like they talk to each other like you are completely aware of what happened in the last few episodes of Rebels. So unfortunately, you are going to have to do that. My wife didn't even want to fucking bother. I asked her, and first she was like, no, because you're just going to watch it without me anyways. I was like, I have to watch it. I have to watch it because of the show. When you talk about it, if you don't watch it for 3 weeks, like I can't do anything. I have to watch it.
Exactly.
So she was like, no. I was like, well, also too, it's based on characters from a cartoon that, if depending on how it is, you might be completely lost. And then I watched it and I was like, oh yeah, she would have had absolutely no fucking idea what was going on. She would have recognized Ahsoka because her appearance in Mando. Yeah. But aside from that, she'd have absolutely no clue. She wouldn't know what an Inquisitor is. She wouldn't know, and I just have to sit there and explain it, and then it would just be like as lame. You know what I mean? So this one's for the fans. You know what I mean? This one's for the fans for sure. What would you say? You recommend it?
I would recommend it, absolutely. I mean, even if like you don't know anything, like it's still a good Star Wars like show.
Visual wise too, the lightsaber action, I like the whole cutting through the ground and all that shit.
Yeah.
Filoni knows how to like make shit look cool in the Star Wars universe. He knows what looks good. A lot of the imagery in the beginning of the episode was just it was intentional imagery that was being portrayed and stuff. So, give it a watch.
I wonder. I think we're gonna see a lot more of the Night Sisters or whatever they're called.
The Sisters of Dathomir, I think.
Dathomir. Yeah.
We might even see that planet.
Yeah. So.
And those are a series of like ancient witches that.
Yep.
That utilize a different form of magic.
It's not the Force. It's a different, just another variant.
It's a very like I don't know. I mean, I never played WoW, but I distinctly remember that trailer way back in the day where, it was like they were infected with like a green like. I don't even want to talk about WoW. People would be like, "Oh, what the fuck is this talking about?" Like, what the fuck? What is this talking about? But yeah, it looks like they're dealing with like witch magic, green, fluorescent greens, and just weird makeup, and just very ritualistic and that type of shit. So, I dig those as a character. However, they are pretty far out there. They are. You're introducing a bunch of weird shit to Star Wars once you start bringing them into live action. You know what I mean? Like,
no.
That's a whole different, and she's one of them, right? The chick that these
Morgan
ex-Sith are working for. She doesn't look like them. Maybe at one point she'll burn off her skin or some shit, or her disguise or whatever. But
she is a wielder of whatever type of magic.
Yeah, and like these beings cannot like be killed. I think one of them was killed, but she turned into like some crazy like evil spirit ghost or some shit like that. Like and then could re-embody like other being, like just crazy levels of fantasy. And the thing with Ezra too, and those characters, is the introduction of like it's like the in between. It's like a space between time and space that Ezra visits. And he could be there, you know what I mean? Like he could be, which I mean, based on the casting and how he looked on that hologram, based on how he looks now, like he didn't look very much older, you know what I mean? So he may be stuck in that point and then brought back in like the age he was, air quote, at the last episode of Rebels, who knows? So we'll just have to see. I have to say, I really hate Ezra's lightsaber, especially the first one, but it did look pretty good in live action.
Because that's the lightsaber Sabine.
Yeah, Sabine's lightsaber. What modifications she made, I don't know. It just made the blade, just like sparkle a little bit and shit. What the fuck it was doing? Like it's like, all right, well, it just looks the same. I don't know, like it like flickered a little bit or something. I don't know. But it looked good. Like it looked like a saber hilt that I would actually buy. The gun one that he had originally was probably the stupidest thing I've ever seen in Star Wars. Like that's That's like infant shit. You know what I mean? Like it's like lightsabers are cool, but what if I put a gun on it?
Yeah.
Basically how I felt with that. So I was glad when that thing got chopped up. Fuck that lightsaber. And then he came back with like a regular lightsaber, and it's like okay. And there was something about that lightsaber too, if I'm not mistaken, right? Wasn't there? It wasn't just a basic lightsaber. It had some type of modification to it or something that made it unique.
I would have to.
I might be tripping, yeah, but you know, whatever. She didn't use it because it didn't go well for Sabine, but you know, it is what it is. New episodes pop up on what day? Wednesdays? Fridays?
I think Tuesdays.
Tuesdays? All right, cool.
Yeah, Tuesday.
New episodes on
like,
Tuesdays?
Yeah. Tuesday or Wednesday. Yeah, one of those 2 days.
So yeah, we recommend watch recap if you haven't seen that shit because you will be lost. Next one on here, Rebel Moon to have a 5. You know, we'll talk about Blue Beetle here in a little bit, but for next one, Rebel Moon to have a 5-hour long director's cut. 5 hours, you know. 2.5 hours for a movie is already too long. Twice that is offensive. You know what I mean?
I mean, you gotta really be into that. Like,
did you see the trailer?
I did. It looks like a mix. Like the start of it is like Gladiator or something. I don't know. He like touching.
He's like, yeah, like
his weed or his fields or whatever. I don't even know what the like.
My thing and I said this, you know, he has an inability of being original. You know, he's just not an original individual. Everything he makes is something else with his paintbrush slathered over it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And I had mentioned it where it's like. Somebody had said on the production where it's like Star Wars but with like sex and drugs and cursing, or sex and violence and cursing, and it's like that's literally Zack Snyder's career, dude. Like,
yeah,
he takes something and then he slathers it with like this infantile perception of what maturity is, and then pushes it out like it's, you know, like it's some type of giant, you know, revolutionary change in that character, and it's like, bro. Okay, like he took Superman and he turned him exactly what Superman isn't. You know what I mean? Fine. I guess it's a nice little case study. You could have your fun, you know, whatever. And then he takes Batman and then makes like a lazy version of him, you know, because although he likes the vibe of Batman and wants everything to have that gross Gotham vibe, he still doesn't understand Batman as a character and like fundamentally, you know what I mean? So that came out super lazy, and then everything else got the Gotham treatment. You know, he just this whole thing, and people keep saying that it's like a canceled Star Wars project. It's like no.
It doesn't even, like, honestly, it didn't really even look like Star Wars to me.
It looks like somebody trying to make Star Wars, and all the terminology is not even, they didn't even try to like change it. But really, what happened was at one point, and I think this is back when George Lucas was around, Lucasfilm was taking like concepts, you know what I mean? They were taking concepts from writers, and he sent in his. He was one of many, you know, and
yeah,
nothing happened of it, you know what I mean? Nothing came from it. But he submitted his shit and he liked it. So I mean, this whole thing was based on Star Wars because it was, you know, it was a concept that he wrote up and proposed to Lucasfilm in hopes of it being picked up. It never was. It never saw a light of day. It was literally just somebody's weekend project that they typed up and sent in. It was not some on paper signed contract deal where Zack Snyder was going to make a fucking Star Wars movie. It's like, no, dude.
A hope and a prayer.
It's like it's a college kid or high school kid in his writing class who has to you know, write an episode of Star Trek. How would you write a movie of around the Star Wars universe and make it original, different? You know, like just a project. And like he wrote it up and he sent it in. That's it. But he liked it, you know, and he probably got shot down again after the whole DC debacle, and Disney was probably like, nah, man, like you're fucking. Like, you're not toxic, but whatever you touch is toxic as fuck. Like, so we don't, like, nah, we saw what you guys did to fucking Warner Brothers. Like, we don't even do that. So Netflix took them because it's desperate. I see a lot of people making the Dune comparison. You know, and then the Kurosawa shit. Oh my God, bro. If people don't shut the fuck up about that whole, you know, Yes, George Lucas did that too. He explicitly named those films as an inspiration for Star Wars, as long as as well as night films and that type of stuff. You know what I mean? Like there was inspirations, and then to just be like blatantly be like, I didn't use Star Wars as an inspiration. I used the inspiration Star Wars uses inspiration for inspiration. It's like shut the fuck up. Like shut the fuck up, bro. Like shut up. So that's kind of like, the vibe I get. I also made a comment that really, truthfully, and this is, as somebody who will watch this, I'll watch it 5 hours to see how bad it is. But I'll watch it. But I do feel that a big part of filmmaking is proper pacing and compressing of a story to convey exactly what you need to convey in the least amount of pages. That leaves the audience informed and moved. You know what I mean? That you were able to deliver a story within a reasonable amount of time, which is typically an hour and a half to 2 hours. 2 hours back in the day was long. Then Lord of the Rings came out and blew that shit out of the water. People had to get used to 3-hour movies. I remember that being a big thing. My mom fell asleep in the fucking theater. Like people were just, they didn't know what to do. They were like, when do we go to the bathroom? Like, because 3 hours is long and shit, 5 hours is unreasonable, and it's absolute like hack shit. Like if you cannot tell a story in a reasonable amount of time, and you have to keep going and going and going and going and going, at some point it just becomes you telling the audience what to feel.
Like the director's cut is gonna be both like parts in one shot.
The original film is going to be 4 hours. So this will have an additional 1 hour of footage. So we're already talking, and this is why I'm making this comment, is because the film itself is already 4 hours, which is unreasonable to begin with. Like, pull your head out of your ass. What the fuck you doing? Like, you're not that cool, bro. You're not cool enough to be like, I can make 5-hour movies and people should be okay with it. Like, fuck off. That to me is indicative of somebody who cannot compress a story and deliver it in an effective way. Somebody who it's almost like they're just, they like the act of making movies, but they have a really hard time understanding on what makes a movie good. He might have an understanding of what makes a movie look good, but really well written films that can keep you in pace and keep you in the loop, and deliver the story, and bada bing bada boom, you're in, you're out. Those are the ones that hit. You know what I mean? Back to the Future, perfect example. It's just right there. It's exactly what you need it to be. It's very reasonable time. Same thing with like Tremors, perfect pacing. You know what I mean? It's straight to the point. You get all the information you need through visual imagery, and storytelling, world building and stuff. Boom, 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 quick. It's how the audience receives this information. And if a person says, well, you just don't have the mental capacity to appreciate a Snyder film. It's like, bro, it's like somebody stumbling over their words trying to describe something to you, and you just sitting there tapping your toe being like, fucking get to it, man. Like, get to it and move on. Like, just spit it out. Spit it the fuck out. Like, Jesus.
Today, Junior.
Yeah, it's one of those. You know what I mean? That's what it is. And just because a certain group of people are more willing to sit there and listen to the ramblings of somebody who doesn't know how to like write and compress story doesn't mean it's good. You know what I mean? Like 5 hours is unreasonable, and it's like offensive to the audience. It should be protested. But the fact that that's only an hour of extra footage is even more grotesque, to be honest. I'll watch it. I'll go in with an open mind. I'm willing. I'm willing. I'm all right with it, but it's Netflix and it's Snyder. Like, let's be realistic here. And then we just have them say that this movie is going to be 5 hours fucking long. You're supposed to be cool with it. So, let's be real. This shit's going to drag the fuck on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm the type of person who sits down and watches, The Lord of the Rings and is like, this movie drags on just a little bit too much. You know what I mean? Like, I got a reverence for those films, but even I am like, don't, I know what they're doing because they're living up to Tolkien's massive amount of information that they're trying to, pay tribute to.
Put into a film, yeah.
Yeah, I get that. They're working off something. But this motherfucker stuttering over his words for 5 hours, like, I'm not trying to like, be compassionate about this. If this shit sucks, then I'll say it. So, Are you gonna watch it? I mean, you got Netflix, right?
I mean, I will. Yeah, but
In three shifts,
yeah,
over the span of a week and shit.
Take it in chunks.
Yeah, fuck. So I mean, we'll see. We'll see. It definitely does look like somebody's Star Wars like fan project with a big budget. So yeah, enjoy. Next one on here, Sony's handheld. What was it? Project Q, I think they were calling it. Now named like PlayStation Portal. I looked at the demo, and we talked about this. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It literally looks like just the handhelds, the trackpad or whatever, the pressure pad and the sensitivity pad or whatever in the middle of a DualShock gone. The whole section in the middle gone. Yeah. Just the handles. On the far side of a tablet where the handles are connected with a rod that is behind the tablet. It's not one piece, and the tablet can pop out. When popped out, it doesn't look like this thing collapses. It might be wrong, but regardless, it looks pretty nasty. The way that it's worded here, PlayStation Portal, does kind of vibe with the whole fact that maybe at some point they'll open it up and have like cloud gaming on it and stuff like that. You never know, but as of right now, it's literally just like a $250 cheap ass tablet crammed in a peripheral that they're trying to sell. You know what I mean? And whether or not this peripheral works with other tablets, I have not seen, but it kind of looks like it's proprietary, which Sony loves to do. Memory sticks. Remember, I'll never forget memory sticks.
Memory sticks.
So, you know, I'm not stoked about it at all. I just wanted to put it in there because we talked about it prior. But yeah, it's PlayStation Portal. That's what it's going to be named. Not super stoked. I'm sure you're all about that shit. You'll probably buy a PS5 just for that.
No.
You do got to get a PS5 though, especially before GTA 6 comes out. Because we're all going to fuck around GTA 6. You know that's going to happen.
Yeah. I need to... After the wedding.
Yeah, you got the wedding and all that shit. And GTA 6 probably not going to come out until fucking 2038 anyways and shit. So,
yeah, so I got time.
Yeah, you got some time. Next one on here, Blue Beetle. I'm going to talk about it. Kind of sad. This is technically the first DCU film.
Yeah.
That takes place in the DCU universe, not DCEU, the godforsaken Snyder dog shit. It is the James Gunn run new reboot, air quote. So basically the way this whole thing went down is, you know, Warner Brothers, the whole switching of hands goes down towards the line, you know, I think it was like Q3 or Q4 of last year, and these films were already being done. You know, one was made, I think, the other two were nearing into production. They're not going to toss them out. You know, like, they just burnt money. They need to make their money back. So they are going to sell what they can sell. They're going to release what they can release. It is what it is. And I'm sure Gunn was told that as soon as he sat down in that fucking office. He's like, so part of your job is to also figure out how we can release these films, make as much money as possible, and simultaneously reboot this universe. And then they went at it. You know what I mean? So I heard, you know, just rumor wise, I mean, it's probably not even a rumor, that they are like, Gunn is going super crazy in regards to like mapping out the DC universe. Extensive, deep, you know what I mean? Like he's going, you know, like he's making that leap from, you know, just making a simple little Iron Man movie to making Endgame, you know what I mean? Like he's got to
catch up.
Yeah, and like he has to map it out, and supposedly like that's what they're doing.
I think like that's all we've been waiting for, right? Like is like two comprehensive universes with Marvel and DC, and like Marvel's just kind of excelled their way through it, and DC is just hitting, you know, roadblocks after roadblocks.
The reason that DC sucks was because they try to catch up in the first place. So depending on how this whole thing works. But really, I think the roadmap is more so like, let's properly lay this out so that characters are introduced in the appropriate fashion at the appropriate times, and that the stories can lead into things that people are familiar with and want to see. You know what I mean? Things that can be shared, you know what I mean? Where it's like, we can incorporate, like Marvel, for example, you know, we can incorporate Planet Hulk a little bit into Ragnarok. You know, we can incorporate You know, I guess Secret Invasion is going to be Secret Invasion, but you know, the scrolls and stuff like that back
Right.
in Captain Marvel and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like they can do that. They need to be prepared to do that, and that's what Fahey and all of the others in Marvel, you know, the exec level and shit, when they're planning this stuff out, is what they're good at. You know what I mean? Like that's just what they've always been good at, and that's probably what he saw when working there. Was like the
Yeah.
true key to how this works is knowing where to go and being committed to where you're going and not wavering. You know what I mean? Warner Brothers has a real big issue with wavering. They, like the second that anything goes awry, they start throwing money at it and start changing shit and yada yada yada. The whole you know, Joss Whedon debacle with Justice League and all that stuff. It's just they have an inability to perform under pressure. Marvel, however, they were confident in their product because by the time DC or anybody else caught on, the world was hooked. You know what I mean? Like, I think we got
Right.
through Avengers before DC even started pumping out those films, right? I might be wrong, but I
Or
think
close-
it was
close
I
to
think it
it,
was
yeah.
Avengers, and that's an
Like
entire.
there was at least 3 or 4 films, maybe 5 films before they.
I think it was an entire phase. You know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah.
think it was an entire phase of a saga before DC even started making and trying to catch up.
Right.
So I mean, you know, it was a whole weird thing, and I think Gunn does see that, and he understands it, and he understands that, you know, you do have to map it out, and that the people that at Marvel, the reason they succeed was because the way that they can successfully modify and change these characters to fit their needs is because they understand the characters to begin with, and nobody that was involved had a consistent understanding of the characters. They would hire somebody, they'd give them the job, and let them interpret where to go with the story from there, and then they would hire the next guy and be like, okay, so this is what the last guy did, now you guys
Don't
got to
do
go
that,
from there. Yeah, like we didn't really like what he did with that and this and this and this and this,
Yeah.
but we need you to use what he made already to kind of continue the story. And then that next movie is like completely weird and different and doesn't
Right.
fit. There's no consistency. So I think that's one thing that needs to be taken into consideration. That's what's Gunn's goal is going to be, is to create a consistency. And when it comes to
Yeah.
Blue Beetle in particular, and I mentioned it, I can see why that film is already, he probably saw it and was like, this fits. Like the visual style fits. It's not that ugly ass DC weird shit. It's not over the top. It's funny, and that's the thing. It had like George Lopez in that movie. Like, I'm not gonna say it's like top funniest George Lopez things ever. Like, but I said it today where it's like there's a scene where he gets his truck stolen. It's probably top 5 funniest like moments in comic book movie history and shit, in my opinion. And shit. Like, just that
Gotcha.
scene, the scene in the film is the way he acts. It's George Lopez. You know what I mean? It's exactly
Yeah.
that funny moment that George Lopez can make and shit. The movie is super Latino. They instead of
Yeah,
them being in a particular Latin American, you know, country, they're in a fictitious, what was it called, Panamera, something like that.
Something like that, but it's like where he's from in the comics. Like,
I thought the place he lives in the show is a new, completely fabricated location, kind of like Wakanda. But they, like, before he actually lived in, I don't know if it was Mexico, but you know, like he lived in an actual, it's like Spidey lives in fucking New York City. You know what I mean? Queens.
yeah,
He did as well, but in Latin America. But in the show, they introduce, like, I forget the name of where he's from, but it's not an actual place anymore.
Right.
Which may be just how they want to build from there. You know what I mean? Maybe they don't want to be held down, you know, production value and shit, whatever and shit. It looked good. It felt real, but the storytelling, the humor, the way, it's very Latino. And like, if you're, and that's why I wanted Lucas to be here and for him to watch it, to like at least
Yeah.
tell me if he thought it was funny or condescending or whatever. But
right.
it was like from production to actors, it was very Latino. And you know, it hits me a different way. I thought that shit was funny as fuck, because I could relate with the jokes and the
Yeah.
shit that they were saying and just the mannerisms. Like George Lopez reminds me of one of my uncles, and he is the uncle in the movie. So it's like I was just laughing at that and shit, you know. So I think it just depends. And My opinion overall is just that, the DC in general has taken just a hit. And a lot of people also agree, where it's just the trust has been undermined. You know what I mean? Like, they just, every time they go see a DC movie, it got worse and worse. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and then Flash was like the nail in the coffin. And then they released this almost right after. It's a lot better. It looks a lot better. It's humorous. It's a lot lighthearted. A lot more lighthearted, I should say. It's got that love story angle to it. It's a movie. You know what I mean? Like, it actually has, it feels like a movie. You're not just watching somebody play with your toys and shit. It sucks. I think it's dropped 66% from its first week. It's a damn shame. I think it made less than Flash the first week it was out. Yeah, I don't think that's indicative of the quality of the film. I think that right there is just, it's a testament to how impactful the chatter online can be for a film. Like, people just discouraged. Maybe so many people saw Oppenheimer and Barbie at the same time that they were just burnt out and didn't want to go back to the movie theater for another 3 months,
That's very
don't
possible.
know. Don't know. Maybe they're just burnt out. Saw Oppenheimer. Fantastic fucking movie. Holy shit. Just a fucking, just a show. They're putting on a show. Acting chops left and right and shit. Good shit. Fantastic fucking movie. Didn't watch Barbie. I might have to, though. Just out of respect, you know what I mean? But
Barbie passed Mario as like the highest grossing film.
Really?
Yeah.
Made more money than fucking Mario? But that's an animated film. I think that was just that, right? It was like the highest.
It was like the highest like producing film of like all time now.
No way. You're fucking lying.
Close. It's close. It's like, it's up there.
It's Avatar 2 is probably that. You know what I mean? They made $2 billion on that dog shit. But no, like, Super Mario Brothers was absolutely a fucking powerhouse in the box office.
Yeah.
And so was Oppenheimer. Well deserved. Absolutely should be some Oscars being tossed around for that boy. What's his name? I keep thinking of Macaulay Culkin. Why do I keep thinking of Macaulay Culkin? What's his last name?
Scarecrow. Cillian.
Oh, Cillian Murphy. That's why I say Macaulay Culkin. What the fuck? It's just Cillian. Because I think that Macaulay Culkin's brother is close to like Killian, right? I forget, like, whatever. I digress. Yeah, his acting chops in that movie was fantastic. Robert Downey Jr. did a fantastic job. Boy's looking old, fucking sag. Emily Blunt, good to see her bopping around. Florence Pugh, I don't know, kind of just getting burnt out on seeing that chick in like everything randomly out of nowhere. All of a sudden, she's in like everything. I guess you could say that about a lot, but I don't know. Long movie on that one, but it was fantastic. Definitely recommend. And while you're there, go see Blue Beetle. If you want to fucking wind down and have some laughs and shit, it's got some body horror aspects to it too. This is what I think of when I say, okay, like, all right, now we got some DC shit where it's like, when character in Marvel suits up and shit, it's like whatever, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, it's more epic than anything. This looked like he was being like ripped apart, you know what I mean? Like, it had like a body horror type aspect to it.
And I mean, it would be a good time to go see it, because like, isn't it like cinema like day or whatever like that, like National Cinema Day?
I don't know, but I know that my sister-in-law went and saw Oppenheimer like at 10:30 in the morning at IMAX, and it was like $19 a person or some shit.
Oof.
But I think when Avatar came out, it was like $16 per person, so I don't think it's that much more. But so yeah, I mean, I'm kind of sad that it's not getting the love, just because they have kind of undermined the trust with the viewer. It is what it is, but I recommend it. Go see it, especially if you like George Lopez. It's good to see George Lopez like acting and just being stupid. He's not being all uptight and being that ambassador of golf and like most successful Latino since Desi Arnaz. That was his whole thing back in the day and shit. Like, he's no longer. It's not that. He's just some goofball acting and just he's chewing up the scenery, and I love it. So go ahead and check that one out. Last one on here. Take-Two shuts down AI mod for GTA 5. This mod was called In-World Sentinel Streets AI Story Mode. It was a mod on Nexus Mods, I believe, as well as 5 Mods. a little description here actually. It's, thank you for your interest in the Sentinel Streets mod. Unfortunately, the mod is no longer available because the DMCA takedown by Take-Two Interactive. I'm investigating the reasons for the takedown notice and hoping to get back up in the future. I'm happy to hear all great feedback. Blah 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 blah. The description of the original mod was the AI NPCs in this mod are powered by 30 plus AI models that let players have open-ended conversations in real time with eccentric cult members, cunning police officers, and unsuspecting civilians. Take your role to the next level with voice-to-voice conversations with the residents of Los Santos. So, I mean, if you heard that, like, think of how dope that is. Like, you have a mic, and you could literally walk up to any NPC in the game and vocally have a conversation with it, and it'll actually respond with unique responses, much just like any other bot, any AI bot. I did watch this in action. It was a little shoddy. Sometimes the characters thought a little bit long, and some of the answers were a little weird sometimes. But all in all, it was very cool that you could just walk up to someone, look at them, and be like, "Hey, man, what's going on?" And be like, "Oh, hey, brother, how's it going?" Like that's fucking insane. Like just that concept is insane. Like you're actually stepping into a different realm of interaction with characters inside of a video game.
I was about to say, that's like a whole nother level of integration.
Yeah.
With gaming.
Now, based on what we saw with the leaked footage of GTA 6, that they basically did confirm that was real. They do have, and I'm playing on an RP server right now that has it where you hold down Alt, it brings up a black dot that you can focus on things, where if it's interactable, it brings up a menu, like a wheel, where you can select options to interact with. In that video, the player was pointing their guns at people, and then doing something akin to that, telling them to get on the ground, run, blah, 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 that type of shit. GTA, when Rockstar in particular, when they were talking about the advancements and stuff, and what people had been leaking was that Rockstar in particular was focusing on AI and how they drive, which if you play GTA, we all know that that's the most like frustratingly stupid shit. It's
fucking suck.
It's such a close and shut like AI model where you're driving down the street and no matter what speed you go, two cars are always going to line up when you try to pass. Like it's just how the game spawns in vehicles. It's just you can't just drive down a street and go around a car that's driving too slow because the game literally spawns in a car that's going to block you specifically for that reason. Cars pull out in front of you because you're going, a certain speed, cars randomly decide to make a right-hand turn into streets that don't exist, like stupid shit, stupid, absolute dog shit, stupid fucking AI. That's something that they're reworking, and I'm so ready for that. That's going to be like my favorite thing. My thing with this and the way that Take-Two reacted days after saying that they're going to be working with 5M to allow mods is that this probably is in the game. It's probably something that they have in the game already and are removing it, not because they don't want people to experience it, but because they probably worked hard on it and felt bummed when like a cheaper, lesser version of it got released and introduced this concept into people's minds rather than it be something that they could be like, check this out. You know what I mean?
Right.
Shutting it down early, getting it out of too many views, only 157 likes on 5 mods. 3,000 downloads, so it didn't squeeze out too much. I'm sure there's some probably more Nexus mods, to be honest, but it's not millions and millions of people, and I had discussed this, especially within like some of the 5M and RP communities and stuff. It's like, we're going to be, if what this means is that they're going to try to bring 6M, which would be the successor to 5M, if they're going to try to bring 6M to consoles alongside GTA 6, that opens up so much, like in comparison to how many people play and interact with the community now, like it would dwarf it. It would be like a sliver of a percent, you know what I mean, a fraction of the amount of people that they would reach if this came out to everybody. So not letting it get too fucking crazy, too far out there and in the know, for people, at least helps them, retain the hype that they were hoping that it would generate. You know what I mean? So I could see why they did it. I could also see why they didn't say anything. They just shut it down and just like, whoop, forget that. Just forget that. Make sure that we don't talk about that shit. But yeah, if that is the case, just certain things, just certain, like driving around playing the game recently. It's like, just, yeah, if I could talk to the AI and like tell them to do shit and like, and you know, have commands like this, like it would be insane. If the AI didn't drive like absolute dumbasses, like this game would be fucking dope.
It'd definitely be a lot more enjoyable.
Yeah, it doesn't take much to make GTA 100 times better, you know what I mean? And something like that, if that's one of those things, yeah, I'd be super defensive of it too, dude. Like, if I was on that team, I'd be like, 100%. Tear that shit down.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
The fuck? That's so dog shit. Like, what the fuck did that AI say? Like, this is embarrassing. Get that shit. Yeah. I totally understand. So we will see. If anything, kind of exciting for me. I'm super stoked. The closer we get to some type of word or trailer for GTA 6, the more hype I'm getting, just based on the fact that, you know, you forget, you lose your appreciation for GTA 5 and how that world is and how versatile and open and detailed and just ready for you to have fun in, you know, and having a new version of that in a new setting with presumably what Red Dead offered, you know, like wildlife, like hunting, like, you know, weather cycles and ray tracing and graphics and shit like that. Like, to see GTA now be on that type of level with a new type of vibe, like, oh dude, I'm so fucking down. Oh my god, I'm so down. Yeah, so we will see. Unfortunate for that team, but you know, if you really care about that idea, they probably just didn't want you to get paid for it, my guy.
100%.
You know what I mean? They didn't want you to get too far and be like, hey, you guys stole my idea, and be like, no, actually, bitch, you know, they probably
in development.
Exactly, we had this in development and you're not going to take it from us, you know what I mean? They're not going to try to profit off of it. So we already had the idea, so I could totally see that. We'll see. But you know, if I can come across one of those downloads for anybody out there, you know, you just hit me up and shit. Try that mod, you know, fucking whatever. Yeah. I get fucking probably shut down the stream and shit. Take two, like, come barging in and shit, like Stone Cold.
Get swatted right away.
Yeah, burst through the windows. Like, what the fuck? Get on the fucking ground! Get on the fucking ground! Grab your toes!
It's like in Transformers with what's his face?
He's like, oh my god! When they're playing DDR and shit in the bedroom.
Yeah.
Mama! You're stepping on my mama's carpet. She don't like nobody stepping on her carpet. Yeah. Yeah, I got it. I got that reference. But that is pretty much it for today. Super short in terms of the topics. We did talk about Ahsoka and Blue Beetle a little bit. Again, I recommend both of those. Go check them out. Fuck Sony and their handheld. Rebel Moon looks like dog shit. And Take-Two, I see you. I know what your plans are. We'll see. But that is it. You got anything to add?
No, I would definitely go watch Ahsoka if you want to catch up. Obviously, like I said before, there's a couple, you know, like 30-minute YouTube videos that'll catch you up completely before you start watching.
Yeah, I mean, at the very least, for the fucking Hera and Sabine eye candy, you know what I'm talking about? Shit. My boys out there though, they doing them right, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much it. We got the free games as always. Just one this week over on Epic Game Store until August 31st. It's Homeworld: Deserts of Karak. It's a prequel to Homeworld, an old school strategy RP or strategy RTS. I think it's like space based. Never played it. Looks cheap. It is cheap, but free.
Actually, it was like $50, on Epic.
Deserts of Karak?
Oh no! Well, yeah, Homeworld Deserts. I literally was just looking at it.
It looks like dog shit.
It's on Epic. It's $49.99.
Fucking hey.
So
free is a good place.
Grab that free. Get that free. Yeah.
I got it. I don't even plan on playing it, but $50. That's what I like. I like getting the games for free that are like super expensive. I'm like, I'll never play this, but I got it at the best price possible. So go ahead and check that out. August 31st. Not too long. Swoop it up. And check out the Twitter X. We still do the retweets for weekly games on the weeks that we're not live or recording. So that is it for today. You can find us at Nerd Chatter Show on Threads, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. You can find the Nerd Chatter podcast anywhere else Actually, I gotta change that.
Yeah.
You can find us at Nerd Chatter Show on Threads X, Instagram, YouTube. That sounds so much worse.
Yeah.
Hold on. How do I rewrite this? How do I rewrite this? Fucking Elon Musk. You dick. You can find us at Nerd Chatter Show on Threads, X, Instagram, and YouTube. You can find Nerd Chatter Podcast anywhere you can find podcasts, including Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Audible, Spotify, and basically anywhere else you can find podcasts. Make sure to subscribe and follow while you're there. Much appreciated. All of our episodes are uploaded to our YouTube channel, and we also do weekly live streams over on our Kick channel at Nerd Chatter. We play various games, drink, chill, and all that good shit. It's about an hour show every week on Saturdays around 7 or 8 p.m. And then I switch over to my personal Kick channel over at McFly. If you can support us, on any of those platforms with the subs, likes, follows, all that good shit, be much appreciated, Kenny. Thanks for being here, my friend.
Always.
Unlike Lucas.
Okay.
Always talking that shit.
I need to sleep.
No, he probably is working. We'll see. He did say he'll be good for next show, so we will see. I did make a comment where it's like, last night on the stream, where it's like, damn, I really don't enjoy going on X anymore. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't do it. Like, for years and years, I would log in daily and just swipe and read. But now I just go days without even looking at it because it's so gross. Yeah. Every conversation is disgusting.
I'll probably pop on like once a day just to clear notifications and that's it.
I don't even do that. It doesn't even pop in my head. Like, normally when I'm sitting there like bored, I'll pull out my phone and scroll, but I don't even do that anymore. Yeah. So. That does kind of suck, and how that affects the show, I have no idea. At least, pick up a topic or two and roll with it, but unfortunately, X blows dick right now, and it's definitely not making it any easier to comprise small information, little tidbits, funny stories, that type of thing, because it's all just drowned out by other shit. WGA strike doesn't help either, with finding news to talk about and stuff, so there's a lot going on, so we will see. However, we are out for this week. You guys take it easy.
Later.